$100 million? I heard Turkey offered you a big money already.
150.
150?
Recent reports allegedly claim that Canelo Alvarez accepted a $150 million deal to fight Terence Crawford. While the heated discussions are still ongoing, meanwhile, boxing promoter Eddie Hearn was asked about his thoughts on the Canelo and Crawford matchup. Hearn shockingly stated that it's a huge possibility given the success of Riyadh's season, and it's a fight that would make sense.
We promised him the fight, and when Canelo started working with BBC, that looked very unlikely. But, you know, as we've done more stuff on Riyadh season and we worked a little bit more closely together, Keith Connolly also did a good job to kind of bridge that gap. I get on very well with Louis de Cubas. And also we got him into a mandatory position. So, you know, it made sense. I think it's the biggest fight available for Canelo Alvarez outside of David Benavidez.
Moreover, Hearn commented on the Crawford and Canelo matchup. He said that Canelo has watched Crawford against Madrimov, and in the past, Alvarez thought about what he is going to get out of beating a guy coming from 147 like Crawford. Eddie claimed that if the deal is right, then Canelo will definitely take the fight with Crawford. Hearn elaborated his remarks on the money Canelo wants. You know, as the fight grows and gets bigger and there's more demand, the money keeps on increasing, and Alvarez will take any fight if the money's there, you know, but he's obviously got a price in his mind, and we'll see if we can get it. Later on, Hearn was asked if Canelo is ducking David Benavidez, who moved up to 175 pounds, to which he responded that Canelo will never duck any fight, but he does have a number in his mind, and he can take any fight based on that number. In addition, Eddie was asked that if Crawford cannot get the Canelo fight, then who does he see matching up against next? Hearn responded that Jaron Boots Ennis would make the most sense if Crawford doesn't get Canelo. He said that no one is throwing money on the Boots Crawford fight, but it's our job to make Boots as big as we can so there is more money involved. Moreover, Hearn was asked about the possible rematch of Crawford with Israel Madrimov. He said that Madrimov has done more than enough to prove that he is the best in the 154-pound division. Eddie was disappointed that Madrimov didn't get much respect on the scorecards because the fight should have been a draw. Hearn believes that a rematch with Crawford is possible if Madrimov unifies the titles and brings a few more professional fights. Meanwhile, during his press conference with Edgar Berlanga, Canelo was asked about Turki Al-Sheikh sending him the offer to fight Crawford. Canelo responded by saying that he doesn't have the offer yet, but let's see what happens.
Did you hear what Turkey said? He got on the stage and said, "I made Canelo an offer. He's smart to take it." What are your response to that?
Send me the offer. If it's what I want, I'm gonna take it. You know.
Would you put a rehydration clause?
I don't like to talk about other fights.
Canelo said that he understands that all the fans in the world want to see him against Crawford, but he will accept the fight only if the offer is appealing. Alvarez was asked about his thoughts on Crawford's fight with Madrimov. Canelo shockingly slammed Terence Crawford by saying that the fight should have been a draw. Next up, Canelo was asked about the number he wants to bag in the fight with Terence Crawford, and he responded by saying that it should be close to $150 million. Boxer Gabe Rosado shared his thoughts on the Canelo-Crawford matchup. He said that Crawford is really challenging himself by moving up in weight.
Knowing that you've been in the ring, you gave your heart and soul to the sport, do you think that it's time for like fans to kind of end this conversation where people should move up multiple ways like Crawford, right? He was an undisputed 147. He just went to 154. Now they're talking about eventually him and Canelo down the road. Like, should we...
But Crawford did that. Okay. Nobody said Crawford should fight Canelo. Crawford's the one that wants to fight Canelo. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really think it's like the fans. I think it's Crawford just calling out Canelo. You know what I'm saying? So, and the thing is that when fighters get older, it is natural for them to just move up in weight.
Gabe further explained that it is completely natural for older fighters to move up in weight and face opponents from other weight classes. Terence Crawford started at 130-pound division, but gradually moved up in weight to 154-pound over the years, and recently won a match against Israel Madrimov at 154. Meanwhile, Canelo started at 140, but now lies at 168, to which Crawford needs to jump. Furthermore, Rosado was asked asked about Crawford's performance against Madrimov and how he sees Crawford against Canelo in the future. Gabe distressingly stated that Crawford's recent fight with Madrimov was really close because he was so unpredictable with all those feints and pressure moves. Gabe also believes that Canelo is a way better fighter than Madrimov. Crawford won the fight against Madrimov by only a round or two, so Rosado seems skeptical if Terence could pull off a fight with Canelo. He further added that if Canelo is landing those types of shots on Crawford, then it begs the question of how long can Crawford hold up against Canelo. Additionally, Gabe commented that maybe Crawford will have a different strategy against Canelo. It is possible Terence will be on the back foot with Alvarez and make him apply the pressure. Although it may create openings for Crawford, Canelo still has a great chin, so Rosado clearly sees him winning that matchup. Moreover, Gabe was asked that if Canelo wins the fight against Edgar Berlanga on September 14, then who does he see Canelo facing up against, Crawford or Benavidez? Rosado responded, well, if Canelo is able to get past Berlanga, I think the fight that makes sense for him would be Crawford, just because, you know, they're offering him, I don't know what the figures are, but I'm sure it's really big, so think that fight will make sense. If Canelo loses to a smaller guy like Crawford, then it will be game over for his career. Gabe further told the audience that Canelo gains nothing out of beating Crawford, but that is the fight which will make him the most money, and he is going to go for it because money talks. If Canelo wins, he is supposed to win, but if he loses, then he loses to a smaller guy, which doesn't add to his legacy, but the business perspective is massive in this fight. Additionally, Gabe said that the amount of money they are offering Canelo would be insane, maybe even close to $100 million. In another interview, Jeff Mayweather was asked about Terence Crawford fighting Canelo at 168. Jeff's response was extremely concerning when he said that after the Madrimov fight, a lot of people will have doubts about Crawford beating Canelo.
You know,
what do you think about him fighting Canelo?
I think that I think that if he prepares right for Canelo, he's going to do well. But the one thing is this. I mean, right now, after seeing this fight, a lot of people are going to think that he's not going to be able to beat Canelo. But
Jeff Mayweather further said that it's okay if Crawford can't win against Canelo because it's part of being great. Taking risks is what a fighter should do. Moreover, Jeff was asked how Edgar Berlanga looks against Canelo, to which he responded that Berlanga is a great puncher, but he is not very impressive. Jeff doesn't believe that Berlanga can hold a candle to Canelo. Meanwhile, Jeff gave his comments on the Crawford and Madrimov fight this past weekend. Terence Crawford, Madrimov, this was a good fight, but it was more like they both tried to fight safe too safe. He also said that Crawford's punches didn't have enough power and Madrimov's punches were far too powerful. Jeff believes that Crawford still won the fight fairly easily since he fought smarter. On the other hand, Turki Al-Sheikh seemed confident that he could convince Canelo to fight with Crawford. Turki was asked about making Canelo an offer, to which he responded that if Canelo is smart, then he will accept.
As I tell before to the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he will accept it.
In another interview, American rapper Fat Joe was asked about his thoughts on supporting Edgar Berlanga in the next Canelo fight. He said that Berlanga has proved himself, which is why he is coming up to beat the best in the game.
In crack, why have you supported Edgar for so long?
Because he got the heart of a lion, you know, and I don't really allude to haters because we use that as fuel. You know, the man 2 weeks ago, he was fighting bums, now he's fighting the best. You gotta be the best, you gotta beat the best to be the best. So there's no worries, this man been boxing for 20 years. He knows exactly what he's getting into.
Joe further claimed that Berlanga dreamed about fighting Canelo and he has love and respect for Alvarez, but on September 14th, things are going to change. Fat Joe further gave Berlanga some advice on his next bout. Train like there's no tomorrow. Just know that these next 4 weeks is all about the rest of his life. It's all about the future. Many champions have gotten beat. Joe pointed out that champions are not invincible. They can be beat just like Crawford and Madrimov fight, where a guy with only 10 fights gave Crawford a lot of work. He further said that nobody can tell anyone what they can and cannot do because Edgar is a capable fighter. Joe further praised Berlanga as he said that he has been working hard for 20 years, and on September 15th, the people will give their comments on the Canelo-Berlanga bout. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn and Canelo Alvarez share some lighthearted trash talk with each other. Canelo said that Hearn had been using his name all week long, to which Hearn responded that it's for marketing.
Were you talking to old Neil?
So we said we have to use your 9 to 7 show.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I think.
Good? Everything good?
Yeah.
Good. See you in a minute.
Fans thought this spectacle was hilarious and they added their comments on social media. Hardcore boxing fan Sean commented, "Eddie is the most shameless friend promoter you will ever see. Brilliant at his job though, gotta give him that." Another boxing critic claimed that Canelo, which is Canelo's nickname amongst haters, is more worried about people mentioning his name than fighting the best in his division like David Benavidez. On the other end, Edgar Berlanga shared his own views on his confidence to beat Canelo on September 14th. He said that he remains calm and focuses on the task at hand, which lets him avoid any nervousness.
A lot of opponents talk a lot of smack and then show like a lot of deference to Canelo, but today you showed a different type of energy where you weren't looking scared or nervous or just happy to be in the moment. Can you talk about that transformation that you had when you first see him?
I mean, with me, right? I'm always a guy. I stay how I stay. You know what I'm saying? I don't gotta do too much. I feel like when you do too much, you start moving around. You start is nervousness. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling, man. I'm in my city. I'm in New York. I'm comfortable. You know. I got my brother here, Crack. I got Chef G here. I got my family here. You know, and it's just a history day.
Berlanga said that he is going to make history against Canelo as he is aiming to become a legend himself. Edgar eyeballed Canelo during the press conference and said that Alvarez told him something is going to be different on the fight day. Berlanga shockingly remarked that something is definitely going to be different on September 14th, which is what he told Canelo. A lot of critics are hating Edgar Berlanga for taking the Canelo fight because he was an easy target for Canelo instead of David Benavidez, who after years of waiting to fight, Canelo moved up to cruiserweight division. Berlanga said that haters are always doing to hate because Floyd Mayweather had plenty of haters, but they still showed up to the pay-per-view to watch him fight. Edgar claimed that he is used to people going on social media and hating him because that fuels his energy to do better in fights against his opponents. On the contrary, Edgar had good remarks for his opponent Canelo when he commented on his fight against Jaime Munguia. "I'm saying that was a great fight. You know, a lot of people saying that Canelo's declining a little bit. I don't see that, man. I think that dude's a legend for a reason. You know what I'm saying? He putting that work to where he's at now." Furthermore, Edgar was asked about his views on Canelo's boxing because he hasn't scored a knockout since 2021. Berlanga praised Canelo for his style, as he claimed that he has all the tools to do a knockout and more, which is what makes him great. That is what makes him a champion and puts him in a place where he is at. Edgar claimed that his focus is on the task ahead, and he is not focused on the payday. Rather, he is looking to become a legend. Moreover, Edgar was asked about the size of Canelo and if he thinks he is intimidating. Berlanga confidently responded by saying that he saw Canelo in Vegas before, but the size doesn't matter. Berlanga further stated that he went up to Canelo during the face-off and told him that he dreamed of this situation. Professional boxer Danny Garcia was asked about whether Crawford has a chance against Canelo at 168 pounds, to which he responded that it's a huge jump given Terence's performance against Madrimov.
On our page on Fight Hub TV, always love to hear your predictions and the way you break down fights and the outcome. Yeah. So, given this performance that Crawford gave, you know, fans have been critical about that. Do you think that performance he gave and he faces Canelo at 168, you think he has a chance?
You know, I'm not gonna lie, 168 is a big jump. And Madrimov was young and hungry, so that's why he did make it a hard fight, because he's a young, hungry champ.
Danny further commented that Crawford had a good payday against Madrimov, but he also had a lot to lose because Israel was a no-named fighter. Crawford did, however, win a belt in his match by defeating a young and hungry fighter. Furthermore, Danny Garcia shared his opinion on Canelo not taking on David Benavidez. He said that although Canelo is not going for Benavidez, Berlanga is still a real threat to Alvarez because he is young and enthusiastic. Garcia elaborated by saying that Edgar is bigger than Canelo, and Alvarez has everything to lose, taking on a younger opponent. Danny further said that it's a great matchup for the Puerto Ricans and Mexican fans because they love boxing. Garcia seemed absolutely convinced that Berlanga would win the fight because he said that he is going to bet money on Berlanga. Now that Crawford has won a title at 154 pounds, he has many other options to fight if he doesn't get the Canelo fight. Former boxer Paulie Malignaggi was asked about Crawford's potential matchup matches if he doesn't get the Canelo fight, and a Madrimov rematch is one of them.
Terence Crawford and the big money fight, perhaps against Canelo, but that's at 168. His last fight at 154. So many great fights for him in that weight class. We've broken it down many times on this channel, but now that he has won and is now champion, what could be next for him at 154? Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi. Paulie, we'll start with you. 154, so many options, of course, for Terence Crawford. Who'd you like to see him fight if the Canelo fight isn't an option?
You know, 154, it becomes interesting. You could even see a Madrimov rematch, for example. That was a close competitive fight. You know, that's one option.
Paulie said that there is no shortage of fighters at 154 pounds, but there is also a need for a buildup of stars, and Virgil Ortiz is quickly coming on the top. Turki Al-Sheikh also mentioned a potential Crawford and Virgil Ortiz matchup if he isn't able to make the Canelo fight happen. Malignaggi also mentioned Virgil Ortiz's contender on August 10th, who is Serhij Bohachuk at 154. A guy like Serhij can give Crawford a really tough time because he is two-fisted, mentally sound, and has a great boxing IQ. Tim Tszyu is also a potential candidate for Crawford in this division, who lost to Sebastian Fundora in his previous battle by a controversial decision. Paulie even predicted that Errol Spence would make an appearance at 154 pounds. Meanwhile, Israel Madrimov stated that Terence Crawford will not be able to face Canelo at 168 pounds because he doesn't have the size or the power. Former boxer Chris Algieri commented that the 154-pound division is a very deep division in terms of incredible fighters. Algieri said that one thing all fighters in the 154-pound division have in common is that they are all young, at or below 30 years of age, and Crawford is close to 37 years. Chris further commented that Crawford can either go for the Canelo route, or he can stay at 154 and unify all the belts in the division to get that elevated status. Chris sheds further light on Crawford unifying the belts at 154 pounds. He said that as long as Crawford stays healthy and active and makes the fights happen as fast as he can, Terence can collect all the belts. Turki Al-Sheikh is also behind Crawford in making the fights happen, so Chris was confident in stating that he can unify the belts. Do you think Crawford can win against Canelo? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.